All right, where do we want to start? Let's fucking get right to it. What's going on here? We're not doing this again. We're not doing the whole 18-wheeler thing. We're not falling into this trap of shitting on the team. We're not falling into the trap of, oh, are we actually that good enough? So where are we starting? Matt?
Just to add some context, the Toronto Maple Leafs have lost 5 of their last 6 games. Two
Really? I
against
hadn't
the
noticed by looking at Twitter.
two of them were against the Vancouver Canucks, 2 of them against the Winnipeg Jets, and one of them was against the Ottawa Senators last night. I think we should just start as how bad was the first 10 minutes last night? Like, do you think it's all on Hutchison? Do you think we shouldn't have flown the morning of and it was daylight savings, which I don't know why you'd fly the morning of if it's daylight savings. So I don't know if you guys knew that, but that's weird. So Josh, what did you think about Hutchison's performance last night? Because you're all pumped up.
Terrible, man. Like, what the hell? Like, an NHL goalie should be able to stop, what, 88% of his shots? This guy stopped 30% of them. He only faced 3 shots. 2 of them went in within 7 seconds of each other. I didn't think they were very good goals at all. Just terrible, man. Like, and that second one was a backbreaker for sure because Toronto didn't even get a chance to respond after that first goal because Ottawa just came back and said, no, this is how it's going to go. And they piled it on. And I was joking around with someone before the game and they were saying, oh, what do you think the score will be? And I said, I could see the Leafs just pumping the Sens tonight. And then the backup goalie goes in to Cord. I'm like, oh, they're definitely going to pump them tonight. But then I had a feeling, I'm like, you know what? This is the leafiest game in the world to lose because you're coming off of a bad loss against the Jets where your coach got a penalty, which we'll get to later. And they're playing is he their third string goalie?
Yeah, Joey Decor's the third string goalie. Yeah.
Third string goalie, never won an NHL game. I'm like, you know what? Maybe this one's just not in the books. And I'm like, no, stay positive. This team's good. Well, boy, did they prove me wrong pretty fucking quick. Because what we witnessed for the following 3 hours was just terrible. Like, passes weren't connecting, players weren't skating, nothing was going. Neither one of the goalies could make a save. That's unfair. I thought Freddie Anderson had a couple good saves, but other than that, man, it was just an overall terrible performance. I think the break coming up got in their head because they're like, okay, we got 5 days off after this. Let's just get through it. You can't think like that if you're a winning team. When you're a winning team, you show up and you win every game. You do not think ahead of the game that you are in. Brandon, you can relate to this. You played a high level of hockey, right? If you focus on a game ahead, you're losing the current one you're playing, no matter who you are playing, because that is an NHL caliber level team in Ottawa, right? It's not the Buffalo Sabres. It's the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, that brings up a good point, man, because I remember when I was playing that a lot of coaches, it wasn't just one coach, so I can understand how it would be heard from the NHL coaches. It's just you can't play down to the level, right? You can't go down to a team that's obviously below your level in terms of on paper, record, skill. So what do you think happens? Like, do the Leafs show up to Ottawa and they're like, okay, we can route them. They're one of the lower teams. And all of a sudden, 5 minutes, maybe 20 minutes before puck drop, you're shooting against, someone who's never played a lick of NHL hockey. So maybe it's one of those, you bring up another great point with the weekend off. Who wouldn't want a 5-day week after playing the Ottawa Senators and blowing them out? So potentially that was their thought. That's their thought process. I can relate to a bunch of Sunday games where we didn't have practices for a couple of days that we took off. And, it's not a good feeling, especially when you've lost 5 out of 6, as Matt mentioned. So that's just the trend now.
It's bad too, man. Like and maybe it's amplified because we're in Toronto and our fan base is our own worst enemy. Like we like to hate on the Leafs. I've never seen anything like it before. Like the fan base is their own worst enemy, but it's the other fan bases too. Like I tweeted this morning just as a joke, trying to lighten the mood.
Okay.
I said I hope everybody this morning I hope everybody has a great week except for Brady Tkachuk. And I get Sens fans DMing me as well. Like not just that one I sent you. I'll show you guys some of the messages afterwards. But this one guy is like, this is what I love to see in a Leafs fan's head after a loss. I'm not thinking about the loss to the Ottawa Senators. I'm thinking about the terrible performance the Leafs had. They could have had that performance against anybody. I do not give a shit about where the Ottawa Senators are in the league because there's a 19-point buffer there. So you can go ahead and climb that Mount Everest. Maybe talk to me after you climb yourself out of that 19-point hole you got going on, bud. But like it's other fan bases too. And I saw another one. It was like, oh, the Leafs aren't even a top 15 team in the league.
Okay, you don't give that attention. That's obviously not true. Like,
No,
I think we're third in the league still. Like, come on.
We're top 5.
Yeah, I know. No, but like standing wise, we are. Okay. So Josh, you came at this in a fan's perspective, wanting to burn everything down. Brandon's a lot more chill, former player.
I don't want to burn everything down. I'm just frustrated that.
But I know. Let's calm down for a second. Let's actually break this in apart. What
Sure.
I think personally, the players don't start to panic until the coach starts to panic. And no offense to Sheldon Keefe, but he's done a lot of panicking in the last 3 days. I personally didn't think they played that bad to Winnipeg. They lost. It was the last time we played Winnipeg. He's getting another minor by yelling at the ref. He's doing this. He comes out post-game, says they can't connect 2 passes. And if you're pissed like that, I would expect some lineup changes. He didn't have any lineup changes from Saturday to Sunday. He does nothing. And Hutchinson, I don't have faith in him personally, but I assume the coach did. Otherwise, why would you put him in? We just acquired a new goalie. We have a lot of young kids on the Marlies that play goal. And you started Hutchinson. And I'm sorry, but like, if someone lets in 2 bad goals, rarely they get pulled. But you pulled him. So I'm saying I don't understand the coach's perspective why you would go with the lineup you went and the goalie you put in the net. What do you guys think?
They went with Hutchinson because that other guy is still in COVID protocol. I can't even pronounce his name properly. It's like 23.
Why wouldn't they go with Campbell though?
Campbell's hurt. He's still hurt.
Oh, right. Okay.
So Hutch played because they want to give Freddie that extra day of rest coming off a back-to-back, which makes sense. You don't want
but they threw him in anyway, so like that was avoided.
Because they had no choice. You want to leave that cardboard cutout in net? Like when Hutchinson has a bad game, you can tell usually within the first 10 minutes. 2 goals on 3 shots. One of them was a floater from a terrible angle. That's a pretty strong message that his head is not in the game.
No, but Josh, I just personally think Joseph Woll, who's 22, is on the practice squad. Like a lot of people don't know that, but
no, you're not throwing in Joseph Woll for his first NHL game on a back-to-back
against Ottawa. Yeah, you are. That's what goalies are for.
No,
I just think. Do you remember? This is going to go back a lot, but do you remember James Reimer's first game? People said don't bring him in. Every goalie, Jory Decord, you saw last night. Their first game, it's never ideal. It's more sending the message. No, let me finish. This is actually important. It's more sending the – Brandon can talk about this. It's sending the message to your players that, okay, we have a young goalie in. First game, get excited. Why doesn't Nick Petan come out? I'm sorry, Travis Boyd, he's a fourth-line guy. We can all say that. Yeah. The first goal was his fault because he did a through-the-legs backhand tap pass as a drop pass. I don't want my fourth liner that confident whatsoever. So I'm blaming Sheldon Keefe, and I think he should not be that comfortable in his lineup. But then I looked at Travis Boyd's game log. He hasn't had a game in a while. I think he sat 1 of our last 10 or something. So what I'm trying to say is why not use your whole roster? Why not put Woll in net to give the boys a boost? Why not throw Petan in? Why not throw Logren in? Just, you know what I mean? Just to get it mixed up. Brandon, what do you think of that? Do you know what I'm trying to say, though, just to give people some more juice?
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll go back to what you said about bringing in a new goalie that hasn't started, not an ideal thing. To Josh's point as well, I remember he said something about you wouldn't do that on a back-to-back. Well, the Sens also had a back-to-back, and they did bring in like a third-string goalie. So
because they had to. He was sitting in the press box with 25.
No, but we have to, too. All of our goalies are banged up.
Right. Well, I was actually honestly thinking that we might have had an e-bug situation last night. It was almost – I was hoping that
Nylander wiped him out.
But you're right, Matt, because when you're a team and you're on a lifeless streak, if you would say, a losing streak, and you have no energy, if you bring in a new goalie, you don't want to perform bad in front of him, and it brings the extra edge to your game because you play a little bit harder to keep the puck out of the net, blocking shots increases, and physicality increases, which the Leafs doesn't have a lot of. And I'm counting down the days on my calendar until we see Wayne Simmons back.
Matt, you're a smart guy. I'm shocked what you took out of this was you should have started Joseph Woll because the guy hasn't even.
That's not what I said. I said what I took out of this.
You literally said you should have started Joseph Woll.
I just said you should change your lineup more on a consistent basis because it's easier to get motivated.
That's not
what I saw from the Leafs. What does he want, Josh?
He wants to see consistency in his lineup. You're not switching your lineup if you're in the playoffs. They're in. I think we can agree that they got what do they got? Like an 11-point buffer on fourth place.
Yeah, probably. But
Something
that's why
like
I'm
that.
saying you need to use your whole roster. You have a whole bunch of taxi squad guys. So, Josh, you wanted Scott Sabrin in. If I put Scott Sabrin in against his old team in Ottawa, you don't think he's going to hit everything that moves? Like, I'm just saying, I personally, from what I've seen the Leafs, I think it's more of a motivational thing than it is an actual skill. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I didn't, like, when I watch them play, I'm like, oh my God, they're doing stuff that they never normally do. And my opinion is they don't have any motivation right now and they're not comfortable. And I like Thornton and Spezza, but I don't think you should play a 37 and a 41-year-old on a back-to-back against Ottawa. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? So my point more is use your whole roster to its benefits.
He's a taxi squad.
Exactly.
Yes.
I don't think we're using
I like
everybody.
the idea of the Nick Patan. My dad likes Nick Patan too. He was actually asking about him last night.
Exactly.
And, it kind of sucks because a few months ago we were excited to see someone like Nick Robertson who was ready right away, but apparently his injuries kind of settled him back. At least he's playing again, but that doesn't make him NHL ready, unfortunately. Because I was raving about his shot. I think we can roll back a couple clips. He has a great shot for his size. It's one of the nicest prospects shots I've seen. And to mention the play of Travis Boyd, right, Travis?
Yeah.
It's kind of that Leafs effect, I guess, the superstar effect, where you think that you can play just like the buddies up on the first and second line, and all of a sudden, everyone's trying to be Mitch and Matthews and make highlights when you're getting a little bit confident. But you're right. You got to make the smart decisions, especially if you're on the fourth line. Kevin BX is always talking about getting the puck deep if you're on the fourth line and something like that. And speaking of Kevin BX, he's just messing around on the intermission shows these days. I don't even take it seriously.
No, I know.
But Josh, I just want to go back to my point. Like, for example, Alex Galchenyuk, I think he has 10 games, 10 goals.
He should be playing.
Sorry. He has 10 points in 6 minor league hockey games. So my opinion, just against Ottawa, you throw him in, he'll definitely have more juice and motivation, probably get the boys going. I think it's more that.
Okay, Matt, so Galchenyuk comes in. Where is he playing? Fourth line?
Sure.
So that's 7 minutes at most. What is that, Brandon? That looked good. It's 7 minutes a night at most, right?
But what I'm trying to say is you could bump him up. Maybe he's the only one going, and then that 7 minutes turns into 12, turns into 14. I'm just saying it helps create a competitive environment throughout a long season. And this team is definitely lacking that competitive environment.
Who scores the majority of your goals?
Our top 4 guys.
Right.
Marner, the big 3 and Tavares.
If they're not going, your third and fourth line probably aren't going either. You're not winning games with your third and fourth line. That's
not realistic. I've seen teams do that all the time. You need your third and fourth line to win the cup. Exactly, Josh.
Their third line has been very good, but traditionally, if you're solely relying on your third and fourth line, like if you go into a game with the mindset of, you know what, I don't think my top 2 lines are going to go tonight. Let's bring in these guys for the third and fourth. I just don't think that's a healthy mindset. You have to.
That's realistic, though. Your top guys aren't going to go every night. Yes, it is. You can't expect Marner and Matthews to go every night.
If your top guys aren't going every night, then they are not your top guys.
Well, dude, everyone has a bad game, bro. Like, that's not realistic at all, Josh.
They've had 5 bad games.
Having a bad game, even a streak of bad games against the Leafs. Why don't we talk about the reffing in particular? Marietta Dubas's tweets. Josh, I know you sent me them. You wanna sum that up?
Yeah. So she's pretty fun on Twitter. Actually, it was right after the refs. I'm just gonna pull up the guy's full name here. It was
Graham or something. Yeah.
Graham something. But this guy, there was a tweet that came out, courtesy Steve Dangle brought it back up. In 2017, the Leafs were 1-12 when this guy reffed.
I saw that.
Which I found a little bit suspicious, eh?
So did Steve.
Yeah. We went back at it. Someone did an updated look, and I think they were 6. They were like 6-18 since then.
Yeah, who cares?
But dude, like, isn't that a little bit?
No, this is us being Leaf fans. So people's theory is this guy hates Toronto and he's calling bad penalties, and that's why we lose games. So, our team, that's why we lose games. There are so many other reasons we lose games other than reffing.
The theory part is that he hates the Leafs. The true part is that he calls bad penalties.
Okay, so he's bad at his job. Don't say he hates the Leafs.
Do you think The was it Hyman that got the penalty that led to the Keefe misconduct? The Keefe.
Yo, okay, so
No, that was Boyd actually, I think, or something.
No,
like that.
it was Hyman. It was Hyman. So we actually haven't talked about Winnipeg at all. So skipping Montreal, and we're just talking about the last Winnipeg segment. The Leafs took Oh, it's a game.
Well, I thought Josh was going to read Marietta's tweets.
Yeah, I was literally just about to. But not.
Oh.
Here, so she.
No, but it's about the reffing, no?
She tweets, if the officiating. This is Kyle Dubas's grandmother, by the way. If the officiating was half decent, this wouldn't have to happen. Officiating the NHL is getting hard to watch on TV. I can't imagine being part of it. So that's one of them. And then another one here. It's so hard to watch this officiating. Goalie interference, my foot. There was no contact until after the puck was in the net. The officiating gets worse every game. And then there's one further down. This officiating is shameful. The ref in chief is watching these no names. Shame on you. So the heart and soul of Leafs Twitter, Marietta Dubas, chiming in.
Take your 5 cents, eh? That's a great opinion. I love that. That
Right.
she's taking her stance. But Matt, you were saying
about Winnipeg.
With Winnipeg.
Yeah, so I was saying let's actually talk about the penalties, because the first one, the Morgan Riley, was it interference or a cross check? Because he kind of did both.
Interference.
To who was the Nikolai Ehlers? So Nikolai Ehlers bolting down the middle. Riley wasn't going to beat him. Ehlers kind of skate. Actually, Josh, what do you just think about the call? Because it's kind of hard to even describe without giving my opinion. You know the play I'm talking about?
I'm trying to remember it.
So Ehlers is coming down. Him and Riley are stopped in front of the middle of the ice, and Riley cross-checks him to the ground. Some people say that shouldn't be a penalty because Ehlers went right into him and he embellished. And other people said, you got to call it. And the second one, which Keefe blew his mind, was off the face-off. We won it, but Hyman kind of set a pick, and then one guy kind of tumbled over another guy. And then we got a clean shot, so they called that. So those were the chain of events leading up to everyone not liking the refs on Saturday night.
The Morgan Riley one was like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, maybe you call that, maybe you don't sometimes. I'd like to see that not called, but whatever. The Zach Hyman one was a joke. Like, that was a tie-up off a face-off. And to quote Keefe, that does happen 50 times a game, and you fucking call that one? Like, fuck you, Graham. Like, seriously.
I feel like I don't want to be against Leaf fans because I am a Leaf fan, but I just personally think off and face-off, if you do anything that results in two guys falling on the other team, they're probably going to call it more times than not. You know what I mean?
But, like...
No, but, like, our guy would have, like, walked in and probably would have scored. Like, it was that noticeable. Like, it was kind of funny, actually. Hyman literally took guys down.
I don't think he did, man. Like, you tie someone up off a draw and then you get tangled up. Like, there's usually what... When I was a left winger in high school for a little bit, like, you were given, like, there was always, like, the rest of you, like, okay, boys, let's move on now. Like, they give you like a 3-second grace period because you're battling off a face-off.
No, but I think it's because both of their guys fell. I think it was more of that.
Okay, so maybe they should learn how to skate. Like, it's not, you can't make that call, especially in this situation. And I think I could go on and on and on about the officiating this year, man. Like, it's just been absolutely
Yeah, you talked about that last podcast.
It was terrible last night too. Remember that Mitch Marner slash?
Yeah, I remember.
So they cut to commercial, and I see the ref on the corner of the screen. He's got his hand up. I'm like, I think they just gave Marner a slash on that. And that was awful. And then I don't know where you fall on the goalie interference. I know Brandon doesn't think it was goalie interference. I don't think that was goalie interference. The puck was in.
It was in, yeah.
What's he gonna do? Make a diving save? I think they really need to relook at that rule for sure.
I think it's more of Engvall won the box out. They were both battling. One guy fell, and then Engvall just kind of stood there, which was kind of funny. But one, the goalie wasn't saving it. Two,
it was the most important part.
Exactly. I personally think so. I don't know if that says that in the rule book. I assume it doesn't. But in my opinion, I don't think Engvall really stood in his way. But I think probably is because they're in the blue crease, which is so stupid. Like, can a player go in the blue crease or no? Because in Europe, like international, you just can't. But in the NHL, people go in, you kind of touch the goalie, you don't. Like, it's so iffy. Like, it's just so annoying. So do you guys have any last thing to say about ref before we talk about what the Leafs need to do in the upcoming trade deadline?
Brandon's got a lot to say about the refs. He's got tons of thoughts.
No, not the refs particularly, but my curiosity has been heightened after I saw that there was the speculation of that ref having some type of rivalry against the Leafs, and then it reflected in his record because that
Right.
That's something that
Yeah.
that's something that we look for here. We look for a little bit of those.
I know it's
underneath
probably not true, but it's fun to think it might
Leaf
be.
fans are a bit much. I don't think this
Right,
happens in like
for
any other
sure.
market. Dude, they
No, but
tracked
I'm
down his
actually,
name. That's a bit much.
Okay, that's
I'd
not
actually,
hard to do. They tweet out who's reffing the games, Matt.
They do?
yeah,
Yeah.
announce who's
The
lifting the
Leafs
games all
don't.
the time.
No, the NHL does.
Oh, like the public relations
Yeah,
account? Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't follow that account. That account's annoying.
The Leafs,
Okay.
and we always talk about we have to normalize what's the normal, like what's the penalty and what's gets not called, because the line is very broken these days. It's not a straight line, and you can't necessarily. I think you can tell what's going to be a call these days just based off of the ref's emotions. I don't even think it has to do with some of the plays. So regardless of that, we're not a reffing podcast, officiating podcast. I'm excited to talk about what the Leafs could do on the trade day.
Yep. Before I get in the trade deadline, I just want to clarify. I don't like that Twitter account because they always tweet out milestones I don't care about.
I don't.
No,
think
but
they're
it's funny.
listening
It's
to you.
actually funny. Like I saw them tweet like, "Oh, Keith Yando's playing his 1,000th game, and he skated 21 minutes of ice time in that game." It's like, why on earth would I care about that? But anyways, the Toronto Maple Leafs have been linked to a lot of people. Eric Stahl. Who are the other ones? Raquel, I've heard. Ekholm, Taylor Hall.
I saw a fun
Who
one
else did you
today.
see?
I saw.
Who's the
fun-
player? Just say the player. Yeah, Nick Foligno, I saw. Yep.
It's really dumb, but I saw that they were linked to Johnny Gaudreau.
Oh, yeah, you sent me that one. So
Yeah.
they're linked to a lot of people. Jaime needs an extension. Anderson needs an extension. I've seen some people say bring in another goalie.
No more Anderson. That's my personal thought. While I have it on the top of my head, I wouldn't even re-sign that person.
You want to start with Anderson?
Yep, let's start with Freddie Anderson. So
Okay, I'll go
Jordan
before-
Binnington. No, I'm teeing it up.
Yeah,
Jordan
yeah.
Binnington got a $6 million contract. We mentioned that last pod. I saw some people say that they should give that to Freddie. I saw some people say they should give him 4 years at 5.5. So Brandon, you're passionate. You can go first. What do we do with Frederik Anderson just in long term?
So what's the 31 we also said now?
I have it right here. Frederik Anderson is 31, correct?
Yeah. I don't believe in him anymore. I don't know. I mean, regardless of this fact that I think it'll be shown again in the playoffs, I don't think that is his year right now in terms of. I'm also giving him a hard time because of back-to-backs, but it's also just this constant variable in the Leafs season is goaltending and Frederik Anderson. And if it's going to be a conversation, the conversation is how much is he worth and how much is he worth to the Leafs, right? So personally, as a fan, if we had to keep, and it's not, I don't even know what the salary cap situation is, but I'm valuing at least Hyman way more than I'm valuing Anderson. And even if that situation was to happen, like I would put my, I think there's cheaper goalies, 4 or less, or even just root within, and maybe this Columbus goalie can have a spark. Like young goalies have always been very, very high for the first couple of years, or it's very kind of unplanned. Their foreseeable first few games, and I don't think Campbell or Hutchinson can carry the Leafs to Stanley Cup, but I also don't think that paying Anderson this much is working.
Josh, what do you think?
Yeah. So I don't think you can, if we're like talking trade deadline, like a lot of people saying.
I'm not trying to trade him this year.
No, yeah, and I think that's one thing we need to get clear. You can't trade Freddie at the trade deadline right now because you would have to get back a number one goalie. You don't really have one right now. I think Campbell's been out too long to be thrown into the number one spot. We don't know what the extent of his injury is. Like they keep saying they're not worried about it. Well, then why isn't he playing? I think you got to do I think you got to wait till the end of the season to make a final decision on what you're going to do with Freddie. If he just craps his pants in the first round of the playoffs again, like
probably one more thing. So like the last straw, you think, the playoffs this year.
But number one goalies are hard to come by. You need a number one goalie, and there is 31, soon to be 32 NHL teams. There are not 32 number one goaltenders in the league. Like there's probably 20?
15? Yeah,
15 to 20 capable number one goaltenders. So if you get rid of Freddie Anderson, who's going to say that you can bring in another one? And I don't have the UFA class on my list.
It's a lot weaker because Binnington got that extension.
Right. So who are you bringing in after that? And how can you rely on them? So if your option is, I think like if you're looking at an option of you can get rid of Freddie Anderson and you're guaranteeing giving me a new number one goalie, I might consider that. But if the option is you're getting rid of Freddie Anderson and then you're running with, say, Campbell and like a 1B, let's say like a James Reimer or something. Like say you go Campbell Reimer. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that.
Neither am
No,
I.
I don't want to bring Reimer back.
Because
I
then
think-
that was just an example. I'm not saying Reimer exactly.
Yeah, I know. Like
I
that
just
type
know
of
he's up.
goalie. Yeah.
Like so then because then who's your number one in the playoffs?
You'd have to figure that out. I personally think for Anderson, I know we're getting on him because of play, but I personally think his contract isn't going to be in terms of is he good or is he not. It's just going to be money and term. And for an example, I have a game we could play really quick. I'll throw 3 Frederick Anderson contracts at you guys, and you'll tell me if you will sign it. So the first one, 4 years at 5.5. Take it or leave it, Josh. Say yes or no.
As Shanahan?
As the Leafs, yeah, you're the Leafs GM. Would you sign Freddie Anderson after this year to 4 years, 5.5? Josh, would you?
4 years, 5.5.
Wait, can I hear all the options first?
Well, it's yes or no to each one.
Well, okay.
I'll say no to that one.
No to that
No.
one?
I'll
Brandon,
say
no to that one?
Money's
What
too
about
high.
3 years at 4.5?
What's he making at the moment?
5. So he's taking pay cut and not as many years. 3 years at 4.5. I
I'd
personally
take
would
that
do
one.
that one.
I would do
I'll
that
take
one.
that one.
But he would be an idiot to sign that.
Yeah. Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I get it. If you're the Shanahan, you'd be an idiot, but
No, it said if you're Freddie to sign. You're making
right.
fun of Freddie,
Oh,
right, Josh?
right. If you're
Yeah.
Freddie, sorry. If you're Freddie,
Yeah.
I mean, you're making a good profit, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those. I can't call it. It's not a. It's like a bridge deal, but he's old. They'll just take him into the later years of his career, I guess.
Yeah, he would
I
never
agree.
sign that.
What about a 5 times 5? Same contract that he signed 5 years ago.
He's worth the same contract he probably signed
5
5
times
years
5?
ago, in my opinion. No raise
He
whatsoever.
will be 31 to 36 in that contract.
I think I wouldn't sign him like right now. Like maybe
Right now.
like if I'm signing it today, 5 times 5. I'm sorry, that's too high. I would do 5 times 3. I give him 5 years, 5 mil over 3 years.
I would do that too. Okay, so let's do that with Zach Hyman. Then we're talking about additions and Ekholm and would you trade Robertson and all that fun, good stuff. So Zach Hyman, would you give him 3 years at $5 million? Josh, yes or no?
Are we assuming Freddie's staying? Because now we're really talking cap money.
Just pure, do you think Hyman deserves this? Would you be comfortable he makes this on the Leafs?
3 times 5. Yeah, he would. Man, that's a little high for me.
So
no,
maybe.
I've said
I'll go no.
I've said my cutoff for him is 4.7, so I'll go no.
I like that number. Brandon, what do you think?
Sorry. I believe with what Josh says, anywhere between 4.5 and 5 is a good number for Hyman. Obviously,
it needs to start with a 4. I think term does matter, but it needs to start with a 4.
how old is he at the moment? 20.
He's 28, but he's pretty good, man. He doesn't get hurt that much. He bangs the body, but like you don't know how he's gonna age. I think it's more like if it starts with a 4, I'm fine, but nothing more than 4 years, maybe. Like
Matt,
4 times.
What if it's like 4.99?
See, that's too much, bro. I would want it to be anywhere between 4 million to 4.5. Like I don't even want it high 4s. But anyways, so we kind of went through the roster of who could be coming to the Leafs in Taylor Hall, Ekholm, Raquel, Foligno. There's a few other ones. So Josh, if you're Toronto Maple Leafs, what would you be looking for coming into the trade deadline?
You know what? I've heard arguments for everything. I've heard they need to go out and get another top 4D. I think that's on the bottom of your list of what you need to go out and get. I've seen they need to go get a new number 1 goalie. That seems like something to do for the offseason.
Unrealistic. That's unreal. Yeah.
So I think what you're looking for is something to bolster the top 6 and maybe somebody to slide in on the bottom 6. And I don't think that guy that slides in on the bottom 6 has to be somebody that has been doing a bottom 6 role. So like I think an Eric Stahl would fit there nicely. Ricard Raquel, he would probably look nice on that third line because Kerfoot's probably going the other way if that happens. I've read an article, it was in The Athletic, that Johnny Gaudreau was coming here. That'd be great if Johnny Gaudreau was going to Toronto, but that's never going to happen. Taylor Hall is a possibility. I think you're looking at guys like that. And
well, what would you trade for that? Because in my opinion, some of the guys you mentioned, Taylor Hall, Raquel, Granlund's another one. I don't see how you're not trading a first round pick or a second and a prospect. Like these deals, like they seem like they're relatively small in terms of our team because they're not going to be our top 4 forwards. But in terms of the other team, they're going to want a premier asset. So would you be comfortable? Like I personally, my prospects on the untouchable list is Robertson, Sandin, maybe, but I doubt it. So I'll add Robertson, Sandin, and Mirov, the kid we just
So
drafted.
if you
You would
call up,
trade one of those three.
no, so if you call up Buffalo and they say, yeah, Hall's going to cost you Robertson and whatever. Like if Robertson's in that package, you say no because
I agree with you.
you're getting 1 year of Taylor Hall, not even a full year of Taylor Hall. He's gone after this season. They don't have the money to re-sign him. Like you're not sacrificing your future for a 20-game run. You know what I mean?
Stanley Cup.
Yeah. What are the contracts like on the other guys? Like what's Raquel got left?
Raquel's he has this year and next at 3.7, but they don't want to retain any salary. But Kerfoot going the other way solves that problem.
Yeah.
Completely.
Okay. So you're probably looking at like I wouldn't give up Sandin or Robertson for him, but maybe you can like give us like have them sniff around Liljegren or something.
100%. Liljegren's the guy to go.
Yeah, I think we can part ways with Liljegren. Anaheim's going to need a goalie pretty soon, so maybe you say Ian Scott. Sorry, bye.
I don't think he has any trade value, Josh.
But Anaheim's going to need a goalie once John Gibson's done, right?
God, he's not done. He's young.
Once he's done.
Okay. I personally just look at the things that I would give because we have a first and a second this year. So I'll look at those two, not together, just in terms of like a list of things I'm willing to trade. I'll put Liljegren on that list, Dermott on that list, Kerfoot on the list, and probably the first and the second. I think maybe two of the things I just mentioned can get you a pretty sweet package. I saw the Ekholm thing, and a lot of people just kind of said, just because if one of our top 4 D goes down, we're fucked. But like, I don't want to say that's every team, but I'm just like, I don't want to overpay for a guy who'd be on my third pair. And the only reason I did that is because someone will get hurt. You know what I mean? Like if I'm getting Ekholm, I'm trading a first. You don't trade
the Leafs.
For Ekholm, you're trading a first for Matthias Ekholm.
The Leafs no. The Leafs' depth on defense is like the least of their worries. So I don't know why you would be bringing in a number one another top defenseman. Like there's no point in paying for that. You have it.
I don't know if we have it, but like I think
you have enough to get by. Like I know
we need more depth.
I know what
Dermott's trying to scare me, bro. Dermott's actually starting to scare me.
I know what clip you're referring to. I think those guys overreacted when they said that on their show. Right? So
other people said it too.
Yeah, I know, but like let me ask Brandon, like if Muzzin goes down, Brandon, do you think the Leafs can still win a playoff round?
Against who? In the Canadian division probably, but not anybody else.
Yeah, I'd say outside of the Canadian division. So that would be past the second round. So that would be the conference finals. And Muzzin is, I think, one of the prime reasons he's there is that literal late playoff depth experience. And
so you don't. Muzzin goes down. He's the only one that's hurt. You don't think Riley, Brody, Hall, Dermott. Who else would probably be playing by then? Bogosian. You don't think they can carry the D?
I kind of like what Matt said because Dermott has lately been showing some inconsistencies in his game and lack of confidence, and like I barely notice him out there. So
I don't like Travis Dermott at all, to tell you the truth. And when
I think you need
Guy. You need Guy.
Who because he sets the tone through shot blocking and he's been the only physical aggressor around the net that I've seen besides Hall this whole year, and you would want more than one of them.
I mean, Dermott's probably gone in the expansion draft anyway, so you won't have to watch him much longer.
That's interesting. That's a good pick for that team, though. To be honest with you,
we have to talk about the expansion draft because, like,
we'll do that.
We'll do that. We'll do that later. So, I think this Leaf team, it's crazy where we're gonna go. I definitely do think we need a player. Like, I honestly just player. I know Wayne Simmons kind of has this element that I'm about to talk about, but I just think we need more physicality, grit. Like, I don't want to say a motivator because I think that term in hockey's kind of loose. Like, Thornton and Spezza motivate the boys. Like, I want someone who can actually play hockey either on my back end or slotting left wing, because I just think this Jimmy Vesey stuff, it's just not getting it done. I hate to pick on him, but I just think
you got to be careful though, Matt, because you don't want to go like too far away from what you have, because what they have is working.
I want a left winger and a depth defenseman. That's literally all I want.
I know, but you don't want to bring in some guy who's just gonna, run amok and hit people in the corners. You still need
no. When I talk about this, I want a guy who can skate with some of our good players, pass the puck, shoot, and I know he can get 20 goals, like a power forward, like a prime Chris Kreider or prime Wayne Simmons for even that matter. Just another element just to get us going. Because I feel like the Leafs, I think what we've forgotten is getting rid of Kapanen, Johnson, Kadri. We kind of lost some foot speed and some grit as well. I don't think we've really replaced it, especially on the foot
Even
speed
Connor
factor.
Brown. Connor Brown.
Yeah, Connor Brown, even that's a pretty good example. He played pretty good last night. But Josh, do you know what I mean? I just think we need another in-your-face element who maybe is a net front guy or just
I can't. That's what I'm saying, man. I don't want. Do we know how long Simmons is out? Can someone tell me?
He I saw a tweet today.
It's been 4 weeks and he was initially out 6 weeks, correct?
No, I saw he's been out 5 weeks. So I saw a tweet he could play in the second game against Calgary on Saturday.
So I'm gonna start counting my, counting my thoughts, or counting my Leafs opinions a little bit differently once he gets in, because that's what one of the final team forms, I guess you could say. That's one of the teams you want going to the playoffs, is one with Simmons on it, and hopefully by then we have something else in the works, right? Like that Ricard Raquel talk really excites me because he brings a different dynamic of offense to the fucking team.
Are we afraid of Winnipeg long term? Just because we haven't talked about the Jets that much, even though a lot of this frustrates. You're not afraid of Winnipeg?
No, I'm not afraid of any team in the Canadian division.
Are you afraid of Connor Hellebuyck? Should I rephrase the question?
Yeah, he's a great goalie. I'm not afraid of him.
No, apparently a third string goalie, Joey Decord, can't even.
I'm terrified of Joey Decord.
I'm not too worried about Hellebuyck because we can beat them and he can be beat, and the team around him, I don't think is anywhere near as skilled as the Leafs are, but they work hard and they play for the right coach, and they've had a system there for a long time. And I don't know if we have mentioned if we have any more thoughts on Sheldon Keefe this podcast.
But yeah, I kind of went at him kind of hard. You want me to kind of expand on my thinking?
Hang on, Matt. So I'm just looking at that team in the Canadian division, so you can trade with someone, and there's only really two teams you can trade with. That's probably Vancouver and Ottawa, because I don't think these other playoff teams are going to trade with you. Would you send Kerfoot, like if Vancouver wanted Kerfoot, would you take back like a Tanner Pearson or an Anton Roussel?
Not Roussel.
What was the first one?
Tanner Pearson.
Yeah, and I think they both make 3.5, and Pearson's.
Yes.
Yeah, I would definitely do Kerfoot for Pearson because he's a natural left winger. He does kill penalties. He has a
Pearson
ring.
And Muzzin have some experience.
Yeah, he already knows Muzzin and he knows Campbell because I think they were probably on LA at the same time. So Pearson, Josh, I don't know why, but when you said Vancouver, the first name I thought of was Jake Virtanen, and how funny would it be if we got Jake Virtanen after all of this?
Yeah. All right.
You know what I mean? Like, another young guy.
Before we move on, quick game. Matt, I'll let you go first. Brandon, you go second. I'll go third. One name the Leafs will acquire by the trade deadline. You cannot repeat someone else's answer. Matt, go first.
I'll go with Granlund, Nashville, because I just think Dubas tried to sign him already. We know that is a fact. I think Dubas loves guys who can play left wing and center. And when I look at the forwards and stuff we need, everyone else has second line left wing and third line center. And Granlund can do both. Like, I know you won't play him at both, but like if injuries or whatever's happening, he can play both. He's speed. Nashville's giving him up because he's a UFA, and I don't think it'll cost that much. So my trade prediction is we're going to get Granlund for a second and a prospect we've never heard of in a conditional fifth.
It's very specific. I like it. Brandon, who are we getting?
I'm gonna stick with my pops on this one because it would be a nice thought, but I don't think he was the source. But someone said Nick Foligno, and I could see Nick Foligno working out.
All right. Matt does not like that one, but okay. That would be a nice addition, I think.
No, I just remember I have a Nick Foligno story. I remember we beat Columbus one time, and he went after the game and said, "Yo, the Leafs do not like playing down low. Like, we had them on the ropes there. Like, we were going. We should have got the W." And I just remember in the playoffs last year.
I mean, he was the captain, and it would be monumental. But for the benefit of Columbus's future with a young star and Patrick Laine, I mean. Well,
I don't think Tortorella agrees with you in the young star Patrick Laine part.
Well, I'm not sure Tortorella's gonna have a job after this year, so I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah,
that was a great transition, perfect timing. That was good.
I would take in. I think we're gonna end up with Eric Stahl. So,
I'd love all those names. But the Granlund thing reminds me too much of a 10% better Kerfoot. These small guys who can't really go into the corner too
No,
hard.
but at least Granlund
But-
scored 30 goals before. Like, so I think he's a little better than Kerfoot in that aspect, but I do know what you're saying about the small guys.
Right. What are we talking about next, boys?
All right, I got a fun stat for everybody. Then we can talk about Dubas.
Okay, yeah.
So there's a narrative online that a Stanley Cup winning team cannot go on a stretch where they lose 5 of 6 games. Have we all seen that narrative?
I haven't seen that, and that's untrue, but okay, keep going.
So in 2019-2020, the Tampa Bay Lightning lost 5 games out of 6 between February 20th and March 3rd. In 2018-2019, the St. Louis Blues lost 5 of 6 between October 4th and October 17th. The Washington Capitals, the year where they won the Cup,
Dude, it happens every year. We know. Who said this?
lost 8 of 9 between the October 9th and October 26th. And then the Pittsburgh Penguins had like a 8-game losing streak in 2015 when they won the Cup. That's courtesy of Jeff Viet.
Dude, why?
So
Josh,
the people,
why do you
hang
always...
on. So the people saying that good teams can't have a low-down, like a low point in the season, it happens to all the great teams. So let's just simmer down on that. Chat.
Wait, Josh, but like, has any journalist said that? Like, I feel like you just read fan tweets from people with like 60 followers. Like,
Matt,
who is saying these things? No, you can blast them on the podcast right here if you have like a name in your mind.
Jeff is a journalist.
No, I meant who said that a team that lost 5 out of 6 can't win the Cup.
Oh, I've seen TSN reporters say that. I've seen Sportsnet. They're like, I forget.
Okay, so this is your homework. You have to actually blast these people because I just think that's so stupid.
All right,
like,
I'll bring the names.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I thought you were just giving like
as a side note, I don't think we should just be addressing stuff media says. I do think it's really important that we have a flow on the fan base.
No, but I just mean like I don't really care what Joe from like Hamilton says about who's an Ottawa fan. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? I thought that's where you got that information from.
He's an Ottawa fan,
So Kyle Dubas has taken lots of criticism for reasons I am not sure. People always say he overpays his big stars. He doesn't get
but where are you getting this information from? Are you getting it from media members or fans?
Media members, Sportsnet, and the guy. Actually, I have the tweet.
Personal. It's clearly personal to him too.
Yeah, Matt hates Dubas. He thinks he's the worst GM in Leafs history.
Can I actually just say, which is actually kind of funny, I think I've loved almost every single move Dubas has done, except for the Kadri one, but I understand the Kadri one, and it kind of backfired, but we got TJ Brody anyways. So from Dubas's first day to now, I give him an A-.
All right, that's fine.
So, Josh, you wanted to bring up Dubas. What are you hearing in the stratosphere of Twitter? Or why'd you want to bring him up?
I'm seeing like people whose opinions I don't really care about, but they somehow scroll across my Twitter, is he isn't doing a good job. He was handed this opportunity on a golden platter, which I think we should address that first. When he got the team, they weren't that good because Lou Lamoriello left them with contracts that were handcuffed behind their backs. And the opportunity that he has right now was created by him. The Leafs are in the position they're in because of Kyle Dubas. And yeah, he's a first-time GM in the NHL. He's going to make mistakes. I don't think he's made like any huge ones at the moment. Sure, he probably could have handled a couple contract negotiations better, but that Nylander contract's looking like a steal right now, and Mitch Marner was going to make a lot of money anyway, so I don't see the big problem there. But he is going to adjust. They got 5 days off here. If a trade's coming, it's coming today or tomorrow. So let's not judge what this guy is doing until he's done it. Right?
Yeah, it was just funny that you said a trade today or tomorrow. That was oddly specific.
It is, though. That's the timing for it, because then that player can get into the lineup next Friday.
I don't think people care. I hate people always say, the 2 weeks, the 2 weeks. I know it's a factor, but I don't think it's like a crazy factor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think if they could get a good player on trade deadline day, what are they going to do? Say no because he's going to be out of the lineup for 2 weeks? Like, Yeah.
They were talking, I know you're mentioning how we shouldn't always talk about what the reporters have to say who get the big attention, but I remember we were messaging during the intermission or something like that when Friedman was mentioning that he has like this really close connection to Health Canada, and he like almost texts Health Canada all the time about how or about what the situation between the NHL and the borders are, because the NHL is constantly working on trying to limit this 2-week quarantine for players when they come across a border. And as like Josh, like Friedman has so many connections. He's just talking to the government. Like Justin Trudeau has got his sources.
Yeah, that was a weird intermission show, because they were like,
that was
kind of a sidebar. They were saying that a value of a player who was vaccinated might be higher. I'm like, that's kind of
right.
That was so funny. That is what they said. I remember that.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because sometimes they'll say some shit that you'll think about a couple days after, and you're like, how, like, what is he gonna get? The fucking superhero power from the vaccination? He's gonna be like that much stronger? Like, I don't even know. Like,
his
I
slap
get it.
shot's just so much more accurate because of the vaccine.
I get what they're trying to say, but
Yo,
like, maybe more covet to the management because they could get that player faster. But who knows, right? If you only have one dose of the vaccine, like, who knows what vaccine the NHL is using? Maybe it's the 1 dose, maybe it's the 2 dose, and whatever. We're not gonna get into that shit. Blah blah blah.
Oh, I wanted to. No, I just had a question. Just one question for Josh.
We're not scientists. I don't know.
No, it is. When do you think, like, for example, me, you, Brandon, will skate at the pond and, like, we'll have the 3-on-3 games? Like, when do you think we're going to get back to normal in a hockey standpoint? Because I saw some OHL stuff today,
You could have asked me off air, but I mean...
No, but I think it's important. I feel like a lot of people are interesting. Like, you're in the business. Do you know anything, Josh?
Whenever we move to the orange zone, like, they announced today that we're officially in the 3rd wave of the pandemic in Canada. So, I know.
What zone are we in now?
We're in gray. How do you not know this? We're in red.
Dude, because I think it's different from Oakville, Hamilton, Berlin. No, it's the same.
It's all the same.
It's Halton, right? Okay. Anyways, so what were you gonna say? It was about Dubas, no?
You were shitting on Dubas. I don't know.
I think he did a good job. Okay. Anyways, so
we're talking about Friedman and vaccinations.
No, but before that, that's how we got off track. Okay.
We're
Anyways,
talking about Dubas.
No, we're talking about the trade deadline. Oh, okay. So, no, Josh, you were ranting about something. You were.
No,
I would love Mikko Rantanen to play on the Leafs too.
Yeah, Mikko Rantanen. Add him to your list.
What do we got? What do we got?
Time for match debates or what?
Yeah, let's do it.
Give me 2.
Okay. So, I re-listened to podcasts that we do because I'm a bit of a nerd. We made fun of the New York Islanders 6 weeks ago. All 3 of us did. I know we don't remember it, but Josh, do you remember that we did this?
Yeah, probably because their style of play, right?
No. We said they're not good. We actually said that not good because they were out of the playoffs. We said they're not good. And Josh made fun of Lou Lamoriello, so I picked this question. The New York Islanders are first place in the NHL, and they've won 8 games in a row. So, is Lou Lamoriello a good GM, and do the Leafs miss him? It's a big question we could talk about for a while. So, Josh, what do you think about that?
Can you come back to me? Because I'm just looking something up quickly.
Yeah, okay, so Brandon, Lou, what do you think about Lou? And he has the boys going up in Long Island.
Wow, that's a surprising stat to me. But in relation to the Leafs, you're only 2 points ahead of the Leafs. I mean, the fact that they're in first place in the league is great right now. I mean, good for them. Lou Lamoriello himself, his personality, his persona around these young players in Toronto is almost the same as Babcock's. It was outdated and it wasn't necessarily desired. I don't think that those players, they feel like they're playing back underneath 1980s management, like very old school, very limited communication. You're traded without even knowing about it or something like that. I feel like that's sort of the era that those guys are in. I'm not going to say that that's the same thing that's happening in New York, because apparently they're having a quite defined season. But in relation to the question, if I'm missing Lou Lamoriello, I'm definitely not missing him, or any of the players that we let go, like Matt Martin or Leo Komarov. It's not too big of a stress for me. The fact that they're having success right now, I think it's more shown through their top end players, and maybe even the division they're in. Like, who knows?
Yeah,
I hate the Islanders so much,
because look, if you look at the top 10, there's like
not many Metro. Yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
The Metro teams kind of beat up on each other, and like it's a win one, lose one. Like the Rangers are my second team. I think I've said this, so I watch a lot of.
Is that what you're about to say? The competition in their division?
I just want to. I'll throw this at you now. So this 9-game win streak, I want you to hear the opponents.
Buffalo, New Jersey.
Can I guess, Josh?
No. I'm just gonna read it to you because it's funny.
Okay.
So they started the win streak with a 2-0 win over Pittsburgh. Okay, that's pretty good.
That's impressive. Yeah. Wait, was it what day
Tell
was
me
it?
How many times Buffalo is in here?
Okay, hang on. Then they beat the Devils 2-1, and then they beat the Sabres 3 times in a row, 5-2.
Okay.
Then
Oh,
they beat
okay.
then they beat the Bruins 2-1 in a shootout. Then
Oh,
they
that counts.
then they beat the Devils 3 times in a row, one of them in a shootout. That's
They
not
played
really
one
shit.
team. One team. They played one team in a playoff position.
Yeah.
Essentially, though, we can't talk too hard. We will sound like complete idiots because the Leafs lost to the last place team and the Senators last night.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Oh,
Josh,
wait,
that
no,
was a
the
good point.
Sabres are worse than
Thank
the
you.
Senators. However, Josh is right. No, Josh is completely right. I agree with Josh. I think it's the same thing as if the Leafs went through a tear, even though they lost to Vancouver and Ottawa. It's not really the same thing. I always try to relate it to the Leafs, but I mean, yeah, I mean,
Oh, give me a schedule.
Washington.
Three at Ottawa,
No, I
three
hear
at
you, dude. Like
Vancouver,
the Islanders are picking on Buffalo and New Jersey. They're teams that can't even tie their own skates.
I think just to sum up this and go to the next question. Just to sum up this and go to the next question. I think it's fair to say Lou Lamoriello does really good with a veteran-heavy team. Like I think their average age is 29. So
Is that Barry Trotz who's the head coach there?
Yeah, Barry Trotz too.
Right.
So I
He's a
think
good
just
coach, too, I hear.
both of them. I just think they need an old team that locks it down, plays really boring defense. But like, let's just be honest. Like, I don't think the Islanders are gonna win shit in terms of like
No.
going far. Yeah, exactly.
No.
So like, I think it's more of that. I don't really care that they win the President's Trophy.
Shout out
But,
to
like-
Josh though for bringing up the old Buffalo situation because they beat them fucking 3 times in New Jersey 3 times. So there's your there goes 60% of your 9-game winning streak against some pretty high caliber teams.
Okay. Yeah. So
I don't think that
Yeah,
math adds up, Brandon.
It's a joke.
Oh, okay.
I just think it's so funny just because like it only happens to the Leafs where a GM who did a lot of bad stuff goes to the next team and suddenly he's GM of the year. Like that's the most Leaf thing to ever happen. Okay, so next debate question. Erik Karlsson said some crazy things this week. Have you guys heard it, or should I read the quote or give context?
Yeah, I've heard one in relation to
I saw it, but you can read it.
the fact that he didn't go to
San Jose for a rebuild. It's kind of funny. So Doug Wilson said that San Jose Sharks are going to reset. I don't know what that means. I assume that means rebuild, reset, rebuilds that go together. I assume.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Matt, wait. Can I stop you there for a second?
Yeah, for sure. Go.
There was a headline. I think it was on NHL.com where it was Doug Wilson uses R word in relation to Sharks organization. And I was like,
Oh God.
he said what about the Sharks? And I read the
Yeah.
article, and I was like, oh my god,
That is
that's a
kind of funny.
horrible headline.
Yeah.
what R word was it? Oh, reset.
It was reset.
It was
so that's what
reset, but
meant.
they thought it was a different R word. I was like, his GM said that.
Yeah. So, okay, the Erik Karlsson quote. Obviously, I didn't sign here to go through a rebuild or go through what I did in Ottawa for 10 years, the 30-year-old defenseman said. But it is what it is. I think we need to find a way to build with the core group that we have and figure it out and be very competitive in the upcoming years. So in that quote, he threw Ottawa under the bus, and he's kind of throwing San Jose under the bus. So this isn't really a debate. It's more us ripping on Erik Karlsson, I assume. Maybe you guys would be on his side. But, like, didn't Ottawa go to the conference final? They made the playoffs. I think they made the playoffs.
It was game 7 in overtime.
Yeah, like they did. They didn't
go to
do
the Final
that
Cup.
bad. And they traded you to San Jose, California, which is a nice place to live. And they gave you $92 million. So
Did he trade there? He didn't get traded. He just signed, right?
no, he traded there. And he signed that contract after he played a year.
Right.
So
What the fuck is going on in San Jose? I'm looking at their cap friendly. 31, 29, 24, 27, 25, 24, 28, 23, 41, 28, 24, 27. Their
These are the
defense,
That's
ages.
Patrick Marleau, right?
yeah, their defense 30, 36, 33, 28, 22, 22. Their goaltenders
Brent Burns,
31 and 34. What is going on with? Oh my god, yeah, no, they ain't resetting shit there, man. That's a full on rebuild.
Okay, and just to give context to Ottawa, they made the first round game 6, first round game 7, round 2, round 1 conference finals when he was there. So that's not that bad. I think that's pretty good.
7, too.
Yeah, conference finals game 7 against Pittsburgh to add more context. So I guess we should get into it. I think Erik Karlsson's completely wrong. I think he's at the point of his career where he's not played good at all.
Right.
And I think he should kind of just take the paycheck and shut up. I hate saying that because it's kind of rude. But in terms of like the effort and how he plays, I don't really know why he's complaining. And I do think San Jose has a lot of work to do, so they're not going to be competitive. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Because I think the story is kind of funny.
Let me go first so Josh can round it out because I won't be too long. I do remember that one Senators team is one of the greatest Canadian achievements in the past
fun.
playoff 5 years that we had. That Canada Canadian hockey fans were cheering for. I remember getting on my feet and cheering for Erik Karlsson specifically. He had a great playoffs there. For him to say that he had to rebuild. I've never heard of a team rebuilding and going to Game 7 of a conference final. So that's kind of to the point there when he said he was rebuilding for 10 years as a Senator. I don't see that. Maybe the last 2 years, 3 years he was there, sure. In relation to rebuilding in San Jose, Josh brings up a great question. It is going to be a clean of house. They are one of the oldest teams, as it looks like, by average, and they can get a lot of return on some of the players they have because they have a lot of people ready to go, veteran presences, and be slotted into lineups across the league. Am I not right?
I don't know how much they're getting back for some of those guys. I mean, you get an okay haul, I think. I don't think you get enough for a full-on rebuild. Like, that's going to take you a couple of years.
I know, but what do you do with how much? 11 million? Is that how much Karlsson's worth?
11.5, and he's 30, and he has 6 more years after this one. Fuck.
So, like, where did you go, and who is?
You go nowhere.
Buffalo.
Oh Jesus!
This is where contracts come to die. Is Buffalo?
Arizona.
So, let me just read out their contracts, and then we'll move on.
Logan. Wait, no, Josh hasn't even given his opinion.
Yeah,
he kind of did with their age.
Yeah, you think he's an idiot, no?
Oh, I've always thought Erik Karlsson's an idiot.
Okay, yeah, so we're all in the same boat. So I'll read San Jose's contracts, and we'll move on to the last debate question, hockey one, and then we have a fun question. So Logan Couturier has 6 years after this. He's 31. He has a no move, and his no move is a 3-team list. He can only go to 3 teams that he chooses. Evander Kane, he makes $7 million for 4 more years, and he has the same trade protection. Thomas Hertl has 1 year after this one, and he has a 3-team trade list. Brett Burns is 36, and he has 4 years after this at $8 million, and he also has a 3-team trade list. I don't know why they're doing this, the 3-team trade list. That's dumb.
Doug Wilson should be fired.
Yeah, he should be fired. It gets worse. Mark-Edouard Vlasic is 33. He's turning 34 soon. He has 5 more years at $7 million, and he has a full no move. And Martin Jones, one of the worst goalies in the league, will be 32. He has 3 years left at 5.7, and he also has the 3-team trade list. And all these contracts were signed by Doug Wilson. If I'm the owner, I'm firing him, and I might also throw a punch by accident. Okay.
Yeah, that's all I'm taking from that is Doug Wilson should be fired for that.
Okay, so this question is really funny, and I know Josh doesn't like it. The Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup last year.
Oh, my God, I know where you're going with this.
Nikita Kucherov got hurt. He had surgery in December. He won't be back to the playoffs, but he was skating at almost full speed. They have a video, and this was yesterday. Josh does not think teams should be using LTIR like this because going to the trade deadline, Tampa has 9.5 in cap space because he's on the LTIR. So, Josh, do you want to give your opinion before I completely destroy it?
I think that's like, within the rules, what they are doing is allowed, right?
Yeah.
And the Leafs kind of did it a couple of years ago with like the whole Robida Island thing and sending guys to LTIR and just saying, okay, stay at home, stay over there. But this is a different level, man. Like, okay, we know he's ready. Don't flaunt him at practice. Like, you don't steal a Lamborghini and then gun it down the 407. You know what I mean? So, like, there's 9 weeks.
Where else are you going to drive that shit?
Well, like, this guy.
I'm just kidding.
He should not be practicing, like, skating full speed with the team. Because don't you think the NHL would be like, hang on a second. And my question is, in the next CBA, or maybe it's even a rule they can pass regarding LTIR, do you think a player is going to have to like go to an NHL doctor before they could be put on LTIR?
No.
Because I would prefer that much more.
Yeah, but like Josh, what you're saying, I think there's just so many ramifications for making that rule. Like, what would happen with the Brent Seabrook situation then? Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
like, I think it would be a shit fest.
If he was actually hurt, then he goes on LTIR. If he's just retiring, then he just retires, and they pay the cap penalty or whatever. The rules are there to be rules. Like, yeah, there's a way around them.
The rules suck in hockey.
They do. They're
Can we
terrible.
just say, okay, yeah, thank you. Brandon, what do you think about Kucherov? Do you think he should be able to do nothing for 8 weeks, and they use his cap, or what do you think?
Well, do you think he wasn't injured at all for those 8 weeks? Like maybe
no, he was injured, but he's healthy now.
Yeah,
just
I know
Game
what you mean.
7,
Like
yeah.
maybe 4 to 5 of those weeks was actual, rehabilitation. However, I wouldn't have normally found that out if I wasn't someone who sat here with you guys or extensively read through Twitter. I was just an average fan on TSN on my butt watching TV for breakfast. You wouldn't necessarily realize that the Tampa Bay Lightning have done something kind of in fluctuation with the rules, right? Like they've kind of had they've kept this healthy player salary cap affected free from their team for the past couple of weeks, right? Or for the remainder of whatever. Like I don't know how it even works, how you guys mentioned it, but what I get from it is that Tampa Bay Lightning clearly needed to relieve space. Did they even sign? Like, did they use any money? Like, have they bought
They haven't
anything?
used
Like,
it yet. No, they haven't done anything with it yet.
yeah.
It's just
So
they can do whatever they want.
I mean, I guess that's the thing, right? So how much longer till we see Kucherov?
I hope they get swept by the Panthers in the first
I
round.
just think it's so funny because they have 30 games left, and they already said he's not coming back for any one of those 30 games. 30 exactly. I think that's so funny. But Josh, my only argument to why it doesn't bother me that much is because you're going with it that you don't have Nikita Kucherov in your lineup. So I think if your team good enough not to have that guy in your lineup, what are you going to say? Like, you know what I mean? What other organization could bench their leading point getter and it doesn't matter for 30 games and just let him rehab? If we did that with Matthews, I think we would be fucked. If they did it with Crosby and McDavid, they'd be fucked. Maybe McKinnon, Colorado could do it, but like, I think this is so gangster by Tampa, and it's hilarious.
It's stupid.
Did you say gangster?
It's gangster. It's really
stupid.
Dude, they
Just
took
like
a
that
video
saying.
and put
Next
it
question.
on their
Next
Twitter.
question.
I just think it's so funny that, dude, they put the video on. Anyways, the next question's a fun one.
I hope that intern gets fired. Next question.
Yeah, he probably should. Like, I don't know why you do that. Anyways, so COVID ends the beginning of summer. Hypothetically, COVID's over.
Oh, I thought you were breaking some news there.
No, hypothetically, COVID's over the first day of summer. Somebody gives you $2 billion and you have to spend it all in the next 12 months. What are you doing in the next 12 months? I will go first. I'm buying a yacht.
How much money? $2 billion?
$2 billion.
Spend that. I don't know if I can spend that in 12 months.
You like my answer?
Dude, bet I could spend it. I'm getting a nice house in Los Angeles because the weather's nice. I'm getting a nice house beside Drake. I'm buying a yacht, and I'm relaxing for the next 12 months and doing some stuff that I probably can't talk about on the podcast. But what would you guys do? Who wants to go first?
Dog on the couch at Matt's house. I'll go first. Actually,
yeah, go ahead.
First.
No, I would buy a hockey team.
Oh, fuck you.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I'd buy a hockey team. I would buy.
Which one? Oh, we had this. This was the big question last week. What team would we buy? You said
The
Anaheim.
Leafs are $1.5 billion, so
yeah,
I would
you
only
can't
have
afford the Leafs. You can't afford them.
$1.5 billion. Be spending all the money on the Leafs to buy them.
No, I would buy. You know what? I would buy all 3 California teams and move them up here.
No, I think LA's too expensive. I think the Kings are almost worth the bill now.
Okay.
What about Arizona? Just take Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona, that's easy.
All right,
you
I'll
have
buy
so much
them.
left over. Yeah.
Move them up here. I'd buy a house in Cuba. I like Cuba. I'd buy a plane so I can fly back and forth whenever I want. I still got like I still got a shit ton of money left. I'd buy a lot of beer, a lot of fridges for my beer. I'd make the most ridiculous parlay bet in the world and hope it would hit. I would go to Vegas and just put
Okay, so Josh clearly wants to go gambling with his.
I would just throw $1 million on red just to see what would happen. And I would take all my friends on a 6-month vacation, all inclusive. They don't have to worry about anything.
Wow,
Matt will send you.
That's
very good
very generous. I didn't think about other people at all.
I said we'd send you photos.
I'm a huge sport memorabilia collector. I'd love to add to that with a couple, valuable hockey cards and maybe some pieces of autographs and pictures just for my personal. Maybe throw in a million. I could throw, if I'm getting $2 billion, I'll throw in $1 million of that into memorabilia and history. Other than that, you're right. I'd love to invite some of my close friends out for something that they wouldn't have to pay for, where everyone can come and enjoy a trip. Somewhere southern. This question throws me off. I'm not necessarily too prepared for it. I was thinking about buying the Leafs, but maybe the Senators will prove, or the Sabres will prove as a different answer. I wouldn't buy an NHL team, though. It'd be cool to own a couple teams maybe locally, Junior A, OHL even. I would have to, get people to run them for me. But I was thinking we could also run Orion organization as a profit agency and hire some employees and have a production situation where we get some advertisements and some better equipment, microphones and cameras, and maybe all of a sudden Orion would be a hit in 12 months. But
Dude,
we'd
we
all
could
get
just
some,
buy TSN.
Dude, we could literally make our own league.
Frames behind us, and we'll get some moments, and we'll start flooding the podcast stream. But I'd love to treat my family to whatever they want, a cottage for my parents, because they want to get out of small town here in Hamilton, and they've always wanted to go up north, so they can go have whatever they want up there. And I'd get myself a nice old school like Honda Civic, probably.
Yeah, Josh, what car would you get? Are you a big car guy?
I would get a Porsche. I would get
I'd
a
get
Porsche
a-
911.
I'd probably get like I don't know, like an Audi R8 or a Lamborghini.
My dad's favorite car is a
that's
Porsche
good.
911. I think.
That's
Or,
nasty. That's
I'd get
nasty.
my dad his favorite car as well, and myself.
Yeah, for sure.
Or like, but like, I'd want to drive it, but I wouldn't want to drive it in traffic. So it would also come with a personal driver.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. I'll get like a personal chef. I'll get a jetpack and a Batmobile.
Yes, I would. I would love someone to cook for me, regardless. I'd have like a phone.
Casually
app,
buy a
it would-
Batmobile.
Yeah. No. It'd be cool though to own some of that like ancient, like you can own actual used props from like the movies of Batman and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. I wasn't joking. I'm serious.
Am I allowed to invest in some of it?
Yeah. Dude, you
Okay,
can buy
do
whatever
whatever you
company you
want.
want.
Put it
You can do
into,
whatever you want.
Put it into
Oh, then-
GameStop. I heard.
Okay, then 500 million of that I'm putting in a savings account, so I'm set for the rest of my life.
Well, dude, you get 2 billion. I hope you're set for the rest of your life.
What would you guys do with $2 billion?
But you said I had to spend it in the first 12 months.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that.
Also,
You
who's
get 2
giving
billion.
me who's giving me this $2 billion?
We won a contest.
So do we get 2 billion between the three of us?
No, that's dumb. We each get 2 billion.
What
Okay.
contest is this? I want in.
Dude, imagine a billionaire actually did like a scavenger hunt across the world and said, "I'll give whoever wins $1 billion." That would be mayhem.
All right.
That's a movie idea. Write that down. Orion Movie Productions. That's our first movie we're gonna draw.
Okay. That sounds
Giving
fun.
away $1 million?
Yeah.
All right, Matt. We'll leave you in charge of that. So,
No,
don't
we don't
forget.
actually have to give it. Just make a movie pretending that someone did.
Oh, well,
And
Now
then
you
you-
just fucking ruined the plot live.
that's true.
Don't forget about our giveaway. They're right here. Like that post on Instagram.
We're gonna have to
It's
push
gonna
that harder this
gonna
week
be
and
in
get
our
some more
story.
comments in there.
Matt's still yet to share it on his and comment two of his names, so I'm calling him out publicly on the podcast because he said he would.
Why
and
would
he
I
hasn't.
sign? I can sign up.
You can
You
tag
can-
two
yeah,
of
but
your
you can
friends.
tell
who
your
would then
friends
tag
to
two of
come
their
in.
more friends.
Oh, I was about to say, like, I feel like that's cheating. It's like, after
No,
all
no.
this, you guys
Make
just
sure you
give it
enter
to
that.
me.
Yeah, guys, come on.
Make
If
sure
this goes
you
well, we'd love to do another one.
make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Share, tag two people, everything. And we will be back on Friday to talk about not another Leafs game, but maybe we'll
Maybe there'll be a trade.
maybe we'll win $2 billion.